Hi, my name's Dave Warren and I'd like to talk to you today about the role that chemistry outreach is playing in developing graduate attributes of our students in the chemistry department. The outreach programme has been running for about 3 years now and it's got two broad areas. Firstly, and obviously, is the impact it has on schools, working with students, supporting teachers, also trying to break down the barriers between chemists or scientists and the general community. The second area, which is the one I want to talk to you about, is the role it plays in allowing our students to explore the skills and the knowledge that they've developed over the several years and using it to develop the so-called graduate attributes that the university expects out of its students. The university's teaching plan has got a list of graduate attributes, and some of them you can see on the slide here. These fit very nicely with some work that's been done recently with the Royal Society of Chemistry in the UK, where there's been a survey of graduates in jobs and asking them about skills that they require in jobs, and these sorts of skills, the teamwork, the workplace, the self-motivation, the communication skills, are all things that graduates are saying they need in their jobs, and yet they don't feel that the classic chemistry degree has provided the same sort of enough skills in this area for them to be able to be comfortable, and they've had to learn these skills on the jobs rather than taking them into the career. Now obviously when you look at those jobs, those skills that are on that slide, you can see there are several of them there that you would normally expect to be developing as you work in a job and you develop them. So if you're going to learn these skills at university, you need to have an environment where you can't be afraid of making mistakes. You need to take risks, try things out, look at other people, talk to people, be reflective practice in terms of how you're going and how you perform, without having fear of getting things wrong. And that's what we try to encourage in the outreach programme of the department. Some people would say, why do we need these attributes in our graduates? We've all experienced at conferences this death by PowerPoint, just the overkill, just the jargon and whatever. If you look at the little video that's running there, that's one of our master's students interacting with a bunch of high school kids that had asked him some chemistry questions, and you can see he's working really hard, and it's not just going one way. He's not just lecturing them, they're asking him questions, he's clarifying points, it's coming backwards, it's going forwards. That went on for 5-10 minutes. And at the end of the day, they walked away very happy, A, that they'd talked to a chemist about some chemistry, and B, that they'd had an answer that satisfied them. Experiences like that can only add to our graduates, only add to the skills our graduates take out, and add to their abilities when they go into the workplace. And that's one of the reasons we're trying to get these graduate attributes into our students. As part of the scheme, we award a certificate in chemistry communication from the department in recognition of the work that the students do on the project. Signed by Lyle Hanton, Keith Hunter as PVC, Sciences, and it basically acts as something a student can put in their CV, and it shows how many hours they've spent on the project, what sort of things they've been involved with, any merit things in particular that they've developed. The only requirement really is it's 60 hours work involved in the outreach programme over 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, whatever it takes, and we normally award that certificate when the student leaves the department and graduates. The information I'm going to be showing you during the rest of the slides is being gathered from 3 basic sources. One was two sources. One was a questionnaire I gave the students after they'd been in the outreach programme about 18 months. So a series of multiple choice type answers between strongly agree, strongly disagree, 5-point or a 7-point scale depending on the questions. And as part of that questionnaire there were some long answer questions that were open-ended, designed to give the students a chance to express their opinions in a more full manner. The other source of information mainly comes from interviews, debriefs. We have a lot of debriefs in the outreach. We spend a lot of time sitting in a van coming back from schools talking about what's just happened. We also spend time at lunch times during outreach activities talking about what's going on, how we could change things for the afternoon. And these, to me, as the person who runs the outreach, are one of the most important things for the students, is the chance to get things off the chest, express themselves, talk to each other about what they've done, give each other a little bit of advice. And that's something that's really important. That information's in here as well. Okay, the next 2 slides are showing you just some examples of the multiple choice type questionnaire that we asked them. The first page here you can see is about their perceptions of chemists and chemistry as a career. You can see they rate chemists are inquisitive, no surprise, they all rate research quite highly, they're all research students. The thing that really surprised me, and at the time I wondered what was going on, and since then I've had a chance to think about it, they don't seem to think chemistry is very exciting as a career. It seems to be quite a mundane job. without a lot of stimulation to it. And I think possibly that's why some of these students are getting involved in outreach, is that it acts as another string to their bow, and it's another thing to do. As you'll see from some of the longer answer questions, it doesn't necessarily get in a way, it doesn't obstruct it, it works. They seem to be working the two systems together and complement each other quite nicely, and they see the value of outreach in supporting their research, and they work the two together very nicely. Second slide is about their community responsibility, if you like, how they're taking this on board. And as you can see, they're out of, on a 7-point scale, all of them are on 6s. They're very good, very aware of their role in the community. They've got a great commitment to the community. They see the importance of this in supporting teachers, in working in a long-term involvement rather than short-term involvements. And all in all, it was a very promising sign that the students are changing their attitudes from going in for themselves to try and do something for themselves, but they're actually giving back to the community in a big way. As I said a minute ago, there were also some long answer questions on the questionnaire that were designed to give the students a chance to express themselves more fully, put some things down, and try and get them to open up a little bit about what they felt about the experience, why they went into outreach, what are they learning from it, what are their highlights, what are the good things, what are the bad things as well. But we didn't get any of those, so I can't say on that one. So what I'm going to do now is go over some information, some quotes. There are some direct quotes. There are some quotes that are sort of homogenized, if you like, put together where the quotes have been similar. And also in there I've put in some quotes and some little things that have come out of the debriefs as well. So the first set of questions were just basically, why did you get involved in outreach? And this is where we start to see this idea of trying to do something else apart from just the research. There's a couple of comments in there about get out to the research lab, apart from wearing, putting my white coat on. And you can see that students have been doing this deliberately, and it's almost like a response to that multi-choice type question that was about how stimulating is chemistry, how varied is the chemistry job. So when we're dealing with whether outreach is what the students expected, there's a lot of comments about trepidation. It's not really what I expected. I thought I'd be doing a lot less hands-on stuff, a lot more helping, and a lot less in front of the students, doing the work and actually delivering lessons and delivering sessions to kids. I think that's pleased me, because it reflects on the fact that they're actually happy to do that sort of work. They didn't need pushing, and they take this on quite voluntarily, and we let them work through at their own pace. And they do end up taking classes of kids, or doing demonstrations in front of an assembly with maybe 60-70 kids in front of them. And they're more than happy to do that, and they feel their confidence grows, as we'll see in a few slides later on. When I start talking to the students about what do they feel like they've gained, the big number one answer is confidence. They're very aware of their self-confidence and their ability to talk and to handle things off the cuff questions. I mean, there's nothing like kids to keep pestering away at you to say, what's this, what do you mean, why? And they've learned very well how to express their answers in different ways. There's a beautiful little question quote down at the bottom of the screen there about, that just to me sums up what teaching's about: explaining things in different ways but using simple words, but making sure you get the right words in there. And for me to see that coming out of the students at this relatively early age in their communications teaching career, whatever you want to call it, is just fantastic. It means they're really taking on board the aspect of self-reflection, looking at what they're doing and trying to think very carefully how they can improve themselves. When it comes to where they're going in the future, the students, you can see there's a variety of careers on the slide, from research to teaching to lecturing, academia. They all feel an importance to this role. They all want to keep this sort of thing going. The relationship with the community, the relevance of talking to the community, bringing science to community, talking to young kids. They all see an important role to be played in that by scientists, no matter what background they've got. And I think that's really pleasing, and again it reinforces that idea that they're buying into the community, role in the community very strongly, that came out in the questionnaire we asked them at the beginning. Enjoyment and highlights, there's a whole range of things on there. The lovely little quotes about turning on light bulbs, watching kids do something and turning on light bulbs. There's also a quote about bringing things back into the school, that sort of putting things back into the community you came from, which again is an important thing. They very quickly in debriefs and interviews with students, it comes across that they really think that this is something that if they'd have been at school, would have highlighted their career at school and would have got them even more committed into science. And these are guys that came in to do chemistry anyway, and they're saying that if we'd have seen this in school, yeah, we'd have jumped at chemistry, or we'd have jumped at going into a science career, and other people around them would have done. So long term, it looks like this is actually, from their point of view, they see it as a valuable tool for getting more and more people aware of science and wanting to do science. More comments about highlights and things. You can see that their amazement at how simple it can be. Just working with measuring cylinders, which to us is a trivial piece of apparatus, but to a 12-year-old kid is a magical thing to be doing, especially if you can put some colour in the liquids and look at the meniscus and see things like that. So again, they're seeing how fascinated, they see that children's fascination with simple things and taking things further, and it really seems to do something for them. Finally, to summarise, I just hope you can see from what I've been showing you that the students themselves have developed a great number of the graduate attributes that we're trying to put into them. They feel much more confident in themselves, they feel much more able to communicate their ideas to non-science audiences. The department sees this, an improvement in this. We see it as a mentoring scheme that works with newer students coming through, being mentored by older students and taking them through, feeding them into the department. There's a lot of teamwork, a lot of team building goes on during these exercises. The students get a chance to try all sorts of things. We encourage reflective learning, and they're doing the reflective learning, and they've got a much better commitment to a community. They can see the role they're doing and the role it has in the community, and they really enjoy doing that. I'd just like to do a few acknowledgements at this stage. The University for the Count grant I was awarded last year that helped us fund some of this research. I can't say enough about the department and the support I get from the department. You can't do this type of project without the department buying into it, and particularly for Keith Hunter and Lyle Hampton as the heads of department that have allowed me to do this project and have financed it basically. Without that, we just couldn't have got as far as we have. And on that note, I'd also like to thank Dave McMorran for his work and his support and his complete flexibility in allowing me to do this sort of work. That does take a lot of time out of my timetable in a week, and without Dave's support I couldn't do this. I'd also like to thank the students, the amazing students. There's a picture of them there. That's the outreach team with a few people absent. A credit to the university, a credit to the department, and it's been a privilege to work with them. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for listening, and I hope this has answered some of your questions about what outreach is all about and why we should be doing it.